Good morning. Thanks for joining. How's it going today? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Yeah, I play I play a lot of historical games, um, but I also play sci-fi and fantasy. Right now, I'm concentrating on Bolt Action and Black Powder, stuff like that. I am getting back into other games, but for now, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I get that. Lots to do, not enough time. Absolutely. How are you doing on the challenge? You guys hear any feedback or anything on my mic here? I was having some trouble earlier. And what games are you guys playing right now? Thanks. I'm glad that the sound's working. So I'm building up some SAS for North Africa, but I'm actually gonna do a bit more, probably some Anzac out of this box. Plan to do Crete later, probably in November. How bad is the echo? Maybe I'll turn off the music in the background. So tell me what you guys are up to this weekend. Still a lot to go. I'm actually probably going to cut my part of the challenge short, although I do have one more video set up with some stuff probably dropping next weekend. I actually am in an empty room. This is my living room. We got new flooring in, so we removed the carpet. There's not a lot of sound dampening. Laminate. My wife works for a flooring company, so we were able to get a good deal. Charles, what kind of board games or what titles? What would you recommend for like a new board game player? Hey, Nick, thanks for joining. You've been doing some great work on your channel there. I was actually trying to do a TikTok live because I recently uh, got to 1,000 followers and got access to TikTok Live Studio. I was getting such a bad audio feedback, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. Don't have that problem here with YouTube Live, so I might just stick with YouTube Live moving forward. Sometimes with these sprues, it's kind of just hard to figure out what to use. I think I'm trying to do more closer in combat, so SMGs on the SAS guys, but I'll have to go to another sprue to grab some of those. Plus, I dropped one somewhere. Nick, absolutely, I agree with you. After I came back from vacation in early August, I just didn't have it in me to make content, but Mini Warmut's paint challenge really helped with that. So so I don't know if the size of the Bolt Action project is the correct way to go. It's just so many different things I'm working on right now. In terms of filming, I have planned North Africa firefight, and then a 500 point North Africa standard Bolt Action battle report in October because I finished painting everything I needed for both the Africa Corps and the 8th Army. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm working on Anzac for Crete because I painted up a bunch of the Fallschirmjäger for Mini Warmut's Paint Challenge, and I want to do a Crete campaign, mini campaign. So again, firefight, then 500 point battle report using the one of the campaign books. I forget which one. Charles, I'll have to check those out. Thank you. Nick, that's true. There aren't any shield transfers, but there are decals to be placed on the vehicles, which can be a pain. I don't actually have any microsol, so it makes it very hard when I'm applying the decals to the vehicles. So I go through a lot of decals. They tear very easily, unfortunately. Charles, what would be, in your opinion, the best or easiest board game for a new player to really get into, kind of dip their toes? I'm not much of a board gamer, so I'm not sure which way to go with that. Nick, I wish I could do that. The models are too expensive to make them burned out hulks. But, Certainly can try. Okay, Charles, that's good. That's a good suggestion. Nick, are you planning on getting heavily into Napoleonics? I know you've been asking a lot of questions on the Discord. Now that I'm doing a little SAS here, I want to try to get some of the Warlord GMC trucks. SAS or LRDG, are they? They're not the same thing, right, guys? I would like to make these a little bit more regular, at least stream once or twice a month. I'm not sure at this point. I haven't done one of these actually in over a year. And the last time I did this, I was just testing it out. Do you like live streams compared to just standard YouTube videos? Is it the interactivity that you enjoy? Because if that's the case, I can do these more often. Nick, that's funny. You're the one asking the questions in Discord, but if it's a secret, that's fine. I do find that Napoleonics are more complex in painting, and especially the smaller details on the uniforms. So definitely something to consider if that's the direction you're going. Plus, you're painting a lot of figures. I mean, I don't think any more so than Pike and Shot era, but the uniforms weren't as ornate. So keep that in mind. Well, I can certainly do more of these lives. It does give me an opportunity to chat with you guys live, which is always nice. Get your feedback on certain things that I'm doing on the channel. And it's just cool to hang out and talk to you guys. So Charles, I'll have to definitely check out all of those suggestions. The only I don't even think of it's a board game. It is a solitaire game that I played. Is the Waterloo Solitaire, which is actually a pretty neat game. In fact, there's a series of them, and you just play out of the book, pencil and 1d6 die. What I've done is I've actually laminated a few of the battles, or so I guess at least with the Waterloo Solitaire, they've broken it down with more complex versions of the Battle of Waterloo, and again, very easy to play, very quick. You could actually use pencil to write in your movements on the game, but I'd rather do laminating the pages, printing and laminating, because then I don't have to mess up my book. I actually have a couple videos of the playthrough. I think I did 2 of them on the channel. But there is a series of those. Looking forward to that, Nick. I still have a ton of Napoleonics to paint up myself. In fact, I have the Warlord Russian starter, as well as the 100 Days Campaign British starter that I still need to get through, as well as a ton of Perry boxes that I am hoarding right now. When it comes to historical figures, guys, which miniature lines do you prefer? Warlord's pretty nice, but they're heroic scale, so the heads are huge, the hands are huge, and parries are great, but can be fiddly. Yeah, Black Powder is huge, and I do get a lot of viewership when I put stuff up. I'll definitely be planning for another learning report by before the end of the year. Um, the problem that I have is that I'm trying to paint as much as I can in order to have a fully painted two painted armies on the field. And right now, all I have are Prussians and French. I'm working on Russians. I'm working on British. I just want to be able to have a few different armies in order to not have it be the same army over and over again. But again, we're talking about hundreds of miniatures uh, per army, and in fact, I've only created one division for the French and one division for the Prussians. So I'm playing smaller tabled games. I definitely want to expand to larger um, armies, but I'm also playing solo, which makes it very difficult. But I'll definitely be putting on another Black Powder game before the end of the year. As soon as the September challenge is done and I get some more of the bolt action squared away, I'm definitely going to go back to painting more Napoleonics and sharing hobby updates on that. Hey, Tank, thanks for joining. Yeah, I mainly play solo. I used to play with my oldest son, who was part of the channel for the first year and a half. Um, but he's moved on, and he couldn't keep up with the hobbying, and I couldn't wait around because I wanted to play games. So I ended up playing solo quite a lot. That is not the kind of solo play I'm talking about, Bo. And the thing is, Charles, even though this is a historical channel, all types of gaming are welcome. I do have a more traditional gaming channel. It's not as big as this one, and I try to put out as much content as I can on that channel, but really, the historical stuff is my focus. Nick, yes, you're correct. Once you dip into Napoleonics, you're gonna get sucked in, and you're gonna wonder where all your time is gone. And I'm telling you, it's the uniforms that are the hardest. There's so many intricate little details, and there are some folks out there, as with all historical communities, that are very particular about how you paint your miniatures. Bo, I'm 47. No one is ever too young for historical games, Bo. But that being said, I've found that it does skew much older. Yeah, Warlord's great. And in fact, I find them easier to paint because again, bigger hands, bigger head, I guess. And their details aren't as intricate as, let's say, Perry's or other manufacturers. So I will agree with you on that. It is a pleasure sometimes to go back to Warlord because it's a lot easier. Bo, I agree with you. I've had a few that have commented on my videos. I'm not. So first off, I'm not a terribly good painter. I just want to put paint on my miniature, so when I do film reports, they don't look like gray plastic on the table. That being said, I've had a few folks call me out on the small details, and again, really, my main focus is to get these painted and on the table for gaming rather than for historical context. Although I try to skew a little bit closer to historical context when it comes to Napoleonics. Nick, I agree with you. They will hunt you down. Nope, it's actually coffee, and it is a Mandalorian coffee mug. And I've not drank any paint water, thankfully, in my life. How old are you, Charles? Hey, Zero, thanks for joining. Nick, I don't even know how I would paint a serial number on a rifle. 69 years young, Charles. Bo, we do have that painting challenge that's going on, so that would probably be a good idea. And yes, painting should be fun, but sometimes it just feels like a chore. But, if you put the time into it, it is a satisfying chore, especially when you are gaming. Nice. I think currently you are the youngest on this chat. I do find that I love the historical community. In fact, the community itself, because outside of the few outliers of folks being rude, most of the community is a little bit more relaxed, more forgiving, and more welcoming. But that could just be my experience. I don't know if the same experience has been had by everybody. I really should be looking at the legend to figure out which is what on these sprues. Sometimes it's a pain, but the only problem I have with the Warlord stuff is sometimes I put the wrong set of arms for whatever it is I'm building. But as I stated earlier, I'm working on this Commonwealth box because I'm trying to build up some Anzac forces for Crete, as well as right now what I'm doing is I'm working on some SAS or LRDG guys. If I do the LRDG guys, it gives me an excuse to get some of the Warlord Jeeps and trucks that they used in North Africa. So that's always a thing. Nice. I think a lot of us started with Warhammer, and then kind of segged into different things. I certainly started with Warhammer 40K and then segged into historicals. All right, I need to find the correct arm for this Bren gunner here that I'm working on. Charles, I think if you dip into Napoleonics even further, it's actually going to be a straight jump into it because once you get sucked in, it's something else. You know, up until maybe a year and a half ago, I wasn't even interested in Napoleonics, and now I'm just eating up the history and you know all that. Oh yeah, I've seen those. They look pretty good. In fact, I think I might get some. I am trying to build up my British Airborne, and that'd be a perfect box to do that. And I do love War Games Atlantic stuff. The thing about War Games Atlantic is you get so much, you have so much left over after you've built your figures that you can certainly kit bash the rest of that stuff. I've pretty much, what have I bought? I've gotten the Resistance box, the British Rifleman, the Prussian Reserve, and then most recently the Italian infantry boxes. Yeah, Nick. So I've had the most negative pushback from some folks in the World War II community. But again, these are outliers because other than these two, I've not had any issues. One of them was complaining about the snow parkas that I painted on some winter Germans. I didn't paint the liner correctly on the hood, and he was pretty angry about that. And then I had another guy who just was upset, actually was insulting me because I was playing Bolt Action solo, and he didn't like that. Apparently, he could only watch Bolt Action if the other person had an opponent. So, oh, you're correct. I mean, I have so much stuff. I actually sent some stuff off to somebody just because I had a lot of extra, and that I think was from the French Resistance box or the Resistance box. And backsliding into scale terrain and trains is probably not a bad thing. Although, again, another one of those hobbies that just it takes over your entire life, right? Yeah, Nick, I don't know what to say either, to be honest. I gotta find the other arm for this Bren gunner. I'm not quite sure which one to use. Um, you know what I do like about the Warlord stuff is that, at least with the ones that I've worked on, so they have a lot of special weapons on here. Like what? We have the boys anti-tank rifle on here. We have a light grenade launch, or yeah, light mortar. Um, so that's always nice to have that on your sets. Then Africa Corps box was able to build a bunch of medium machine gun teams just using the MJ34s and then a bunch of other folks that were on the sprues. Yeah, Nick, I try not to be rude back. It doesn't get you anywhere really, because most of the time they're just insulting you to be insulting, and you never hear from them again. So right, Nick, don't feed the trolls. Absolutely. Charles, you're giving a lot of great info here. I'm just gonna have to pick and choose because I don't think I could get all that stuff. Are you comparing the War Games Atlantic Italians to the Warlord stuff? I haven't received any of the Warlord stuff other than the the weapons teams box. Um, I don't have too much of a problem with the War Games Atlantic Italians. It was the first one that I bought. I bought it before they even came out with or before I could even get the Warlord Italians. And prior to that, I've only had the metal stuff, the metal Italians from Warlord, which are okay, but they don't look as nice now. I will say that with the War Games Atlantic Italians, I like that they included the machine gun, so you can make a machine gun team. I don't like that there's no figure on there that could act as a loader. So when I did build my medium machine gun team, they're just the standard guys, and they're either standing around. I used a kneeling guy, but I wish that they had components, more components like ammo boxes and stuff like that, so that it would look more like a medium machine gun team than just a light machine gun mounted on a medium base. All right, so I'm pretty much done with the sprue. I need to find an arm that'll work with this Bren gunner. I do have the kneeling dude here, or the prone dude, so I guess I should finish him up. Nick, I appreciate you logging on, and chatting. Thanks for watching. Keep us posted on your projects as always. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I think it's funny because that's their advantage and their disadvantage. I'm going to use the British Rifleman kit as an example. It's all pretty much the same sprue. You get what, 8 of them or so, and each figure has the same stance, right? And then you have a bunch of different options. But then at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty much very similar to what you build from that first sprue as you are with that last sprue. That said, though, the amount of figures that you get for what you pay with War Games Atlantic is not a bad thing. If you mix it in with different, the other thing about War Games Atlantic is that the sizing of the miniatures are very close to Perry's. So if you put them in with Perry's, they don't look too bad. I think some of their earlier sets, Charles, weren't as good as they are now, and they get better. I think one of the distinct advantages, at least of what I've heard with War Games Atlantic, is that they are domestic and they're manufacturing their sprues domestic. So we're not waiting. We don't have shipping delays. You can order directly from their website, and they have great deals where you can buy 3 boxes for a certain amount of money, right? I do kind of wish that they would put out more Napoleonics. The Rifleman set is a great value in comparison to the metal ones from Warlord. But the Prussian, unfortunately, the Prussian reserves, no command are included, and they even state that there are no command. You'd have to source it, and the only command that matches really well with the Prussian reserves from War Games Atlantic are parries. And obviously, if you're going to get command from parries, you might as well just get the parry box at that point. Although if you're trying to fill out your battalions, their Prussian reserve is not too bad if you're playing Prussians. Not as detailed as parries, obviously. Yeah, I have to agree. French resistance, there was a good variety of things on there. I've made most of the sprues, and not too many of them look the same or too similar. There's just enough variety in that one. I'm hoping, because this was Resistance Box 1, that they're going to come out with a Resistance Box 2 at some point. But their new World War II stuff, like the SAS box, the German Guards or Sentry box, I don't know if they put those out because of 0200, because that seems very similar to what Gray for Games, is that what they're called now? Put out for 0200. So Charles, with the Roman box, I haven't personally purchased that one yet, but I've heard the main complaint is that the shields are too large in comparison to the figure. And if you wanted like kind of the late Imperial Romans, I think Gripping Beast has a better line. At least their shields are more in line with the size. That said, it's still not a bad value. You get 24 Romans, I think, in that set. But their Goth set looks pretty good. The one that's opposite the Roman set. Which miniatures are the same? Ham and Jam? Yeah, I don't want to wake the dog. I put my dogs out for the morning so that they can get some fresh air in the backyard. What kind of dog do you have, Charles? Ham and Jam, is that right? They're the same miniatures. They have. I'm assuming then that they have a partnership to put those minis out. Hey, Brian, Mini Warma, thanks for joining. Appreciate you jumping in. I think I'm gonna make this prone guy Bren Gunner as well. Which minis, Brian? Are you talking about the ones I'm working on, or are we talking about something else? Oh, did Bo say that something he's working on is fiddly? Brian, what are you working on right now? Are you painting? Obviously, I'm not painting right now. I think for War Games Atlantic, they've gotten better. They are kind of plain Jane, but when it comes to cost and gaming, they provide a great value. That said, they're obviously not gonna. They're a young company. They don't have the cachet that some of the older companies have. Nor do they have some of the sculptors that the other companies have. So, you know, they'll get better over time. Charles, I have two dogs myself. I have a Maltipoo who barks at everything, and then I have an Aussie um, Husky mix who is just all over the place. Oh, that's pretty awesome, Brian. Yeah, you got a lot of Greeks to paint there. Actually, Brian, did you get the Spartan box too? Did you ever finish that? Yeah. So I was telling the guys earlier that actually was trying to do a TikTok live, but that didn't work out. I was getting too much feedback on my mic. Something about TikTok Live Studio. Um, I think it's a known issue. I decided just to jump onto YouTube Live. Plus, you guys are all on YouTube, so I'd rather just jump on here with you guys and chit chat with you. Bo, are you sure you don't want them to look like Riverdance? Because that would be interesting. Brian, have you made a dent in that Spartan box yet? Or are you just working on the Greeks first? Oh, and did you ever finish the Roman box? I know you got a good deal on that Roman box. I was saying earlier that I think I have one more challenge video to do before I call it done. Yeah, Bo, I agree with you. It does get kind of boring, but again, for me, it's value. And sometimes if you just, I think with anything, the War Games Atlantic stuff, good price, and they marry well to the Perry stuff. So if you kind of intersperse them, or at least with the Napoleonic stuff, I don't know how well the World War II stuff actually is pretty good. I personally don't have any World War II Perrys, and that actually seems to be even better value since you get like so many of the minis in there. I think a river dance troupe would be an interesting choice to make for Mordheim as a war band. I don't know if any of you guys play Mordheim, but that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Has anybody gotten the Hail Caesar second edition rulebook? I can't justify myself getting the starter because I have a lot of Celts and Romans to work on already. So I need to source a rulebook outside of the starter. And the only place I've been able to get it or find it is on eBay. Yeah, Brian, you did good by inviting all of us to do your challenge. I think we should do this again, obviously. Yeah, Charles, changing up weapons is definitely necessary. But I'll have to see if the parries are shorter because I actually have like for my Napoleonic Prussians I have parry command mixed in with the Prussian reserve figures, and they seem to match well. But you could be right. I don't know if it's the Shakos on some of them. I'm gonna have to find the arm for this Bren Gunner in a little while. You know, the only ones that I've found to be like a lot bigger are the Vitrix miniatures, especially their ancients in comparison to um, Warlord stuff. And I love the Vitrix stuff, except for the mold lines in the most awkward of places. Yeah, I don't have a lot of the gripping beast stuff, but I really should get some. In fact, you know what? Do I? I do. I have some of the Arabs. Oh yeah, that's like the perfect place to have a mold line is across the face. And no, I don't like that. The cleanup is so hard. Just add. I like to be able to do the minis real fast so I can paint them up as fast as I can. And Vitrix always gives me a problem. But that said, they have beautiful miniatures. Cool, Brian. Coffee's good. Breakfast is good. Yeah, Reaper is great in their pricing. And they've got some great minis. Oops. All right. Now I got to find an arm for this guy. And I keep saying that. I'll find an arm for this guy later. Maybe I'll start on another sprue here. So pretty much have most of that sprue done. The first sprue, just need to get an arm for this gunner, Bren gunner. So I'm just going to get started. So these guys are my SAS or LRDG. I think maybe I'll work on some Anzac forces here. New Zealand. So I'm going to make a Maori squad for Crete. Charles, that makes it very convenient. It's kind of a bummer. Just noticed that this sprue only has 2 of the lemon squeezer hats, which means I could only make two New Zealand guys off of the sprue. You have more of the Australian and the South African guy hats. Thankfully, I can get the lemon squeezer hats off of these guys. This sprue gives me 4. I've got a lot of bits. If they're not here, they're somewhere. In fact, I probably have too many. Funny that you said that. I did do a lot of 3D printing a couple years ago, but my printers have since expired. And I can't get parts for them anymore. I've tried. And I don't know if I can commit to buying another 3D printer at this time. But I did a lot of 3D printing of Battletech stuff before Catalyst started putting out new minis. So I did that for a while. And I found that during that time, those were the best minis that I could print, where I wasn't getting a lot of failures. Yeah, I know. I can't commit to another 3D printer. I got 2 broken ones in my garage right now. I think this kit will have more than enough for me though. Oh, is that right? You don't like Catalyst? Tell me why. I can go either way with them. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Are you asking me how many minis I've painted? I've lost count, but certainly not as many as some other folks. But I do have enough for one more video, and it certainly put a dent in my Bolt Action backlog. Oh, why is that, Brian? Well, I'll need to look into the Blaine Pardo thing. I'm not familiar. Again, I play Battletech, but not as much. Again, a lot of my focus is on historicals at this time. Yeah, your challenge has lit a fire, Brian. Brian, have you thought about maybe getting a couple of those ambush starters for Kings of War? I know that you have a couple of the 2-player starters and some of the army boxes, but I was thinking of getting some of the ambush starters just to kind of start clean with the game. Oh yeah, on the giant, that would be kind of a tough thing to figure out. It's a lot of skin to paint on that. Bo, I get that. Just be nice to be able to game without any real life coming into our fantasy worlds. Hey, Brian, some of those ambush starters seem to have like a leader figure. I think the Ratkin one does, which is kind of strange because some of the earlier ambush starters don't seem to have like a leader figure. I think that would be a perfect way to kind of bring somebody in, because then you have a leader already without having to buy one. But maybe they're figuring that out as they're releasing more of the armies in ambush. I don't know, a 3-foot rule on a giant. Obviously, I'm joking, but Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job with putting new stuff out for Kings of War. And now that they're making figures for armies that didn't have figures of their own outside of like proxying them, I think that's great for them. And maybe they're ramping up their production because of Old World coming back, or with Old World coming in, Warhammer Fantasy coming back. So I'm thinking of filming Bolt Action next weekend. I gotta get my terrain done for North Africa, so I gotta get my butt in gear. The only reason why I'm making terrain for North Africa is because I really couldn't justify getting more terrain, or at least spending money on terrain. But I agree. Their stuff's getting way too expensive. I mean, it's always been expensive, but every year it seems to get even worse. And granted, their miniatures look great, but when you're paying $60 for 3 miniatures, that seems excessive. I agree, Charles. I'm having a lot of fun building terrain. And yes, sand and rocks. But I'm building I'm building North African houses right now. Did you get that on a good value, Curse City? Because that was pretty expensive not too long ago. Wait, did you get that on Amazon, Brian? Remember, you and I were getting quite the deal when War Games Delivered was putting out a bunch of their stuff with 20% off or $20 off. They're not doing that so much. I wish they would. There's a ton of stuff I wanted to buy from them. How much was that? I'm kind of kicking myself because a few weeks ago they had a Bolt Action British Airborne box set for $24, and I should have bought it, but I skipped it, and now I'm regretting it because I really wanted to get that box. Oh, that's not bad. What was it retailing for over 200 or something before? What I really want to do is get that um, Horus Heresy starter, but I can't justify even at 263 buying it. Although, considering how much they're selling, like the figures from that box in their own kits, it's probably the best value. Yeah, I'd consider getting that Blackstone Fortress. I'm sure they made like a ton of them, and that's why it's still there. But I missed out on the Kill Team one that had the Gellerpox guys and the what was that? The other faction that was in the box. And now that those figures, prior to them being released on, re-released for Kill Team just as their own individual teams, was quite expensive for a while. I don't know, Bo. I just saw a box of Assault Marines, Firstborn Assault Marines with the new branding for $68 on Amazon, which is already reduced in price. I don't know if it's because that particular seller, just thinks that they can fleece us for that. But if you notice, all their newer releases are pretty much replacing Firstborn. Like with Leviathan and the release of the new Terminators. Just seems they're trying to get rid of the Firstborn and replace them with Primaris-sized versions of that. Which they should have done initially when they did the Primaris. But I just hate that it takes GW 30 odd years to add figures to certain lines. I'm a Eldar player, so it was nice to get a bunch of the updated stuff for 9th edition, but it would be nice to get the rest of the line modernized, like the rest of the Phoenix Lords. I'm sure that goes with a lot of other of the factions in Warhammer in 40k. You just need updates. That's a good invasion to have, Charles. That's true, Bo. And there are some really good Firstborn designs still out there. Bo, which Which chapter of Space Marines do you favor? Yeah, the Black Templars are very interesting. Definitely a very flavorful chapter. I'm a Dark Angels player myself. And my oldest son, is a Salamanders guy. Although he started Ultramarines, which I think most kids do. My youngest son, I'm trying to get him playing, so I bought him some just Primaris Intercessors and a Lieutenant. He wanted Space Wolves, so that's where we're going to go with. But again, my main army is Eldar. And Bo, don't forget, they are Sons of Dorn. Brian knows what I'm talking about. Hey, Brian, did you get the Lion himself yet? Are you planning to? Because I would love to. Yeah, Bo, I think the Ultramarines are just, they're just easy to understand, I would assume, for kids. I mean, plus they're the poster child for Warhammer 40K. So I can see that. Yeah, there are some pretty horrible things happening in the 40K universe, especially in Chaos. For Chaos Space Marines, my favorite chapter or Legion are the Iron Warriors. Yeah, it could be a little much, especially if they're trying to get kids into the game. It's a little too mature for them. Incidentally, now that we're talking about 40K, I did do a Space Marine board game unboxing, the Target exclusive on the OG channel. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I'll put that in the chat. Obviously, with Games Workshop putting this in Target, they're trying to get a wider audience for 40K. Yeah, the Night Lords are fairly vicious. It's like evil Batman. They're Primarch. History nerd, which chapter of Space Marines is your favorite? And Deathcore or Krieg, pretty hardcore. To be honest, Brian, my favorite edition was 8th edition. When they kind of aligned the gameplay with that of Age of Sigmar, made it a lot easier to get into it. I don't agree with Games Workshop releasing new editions every 3 years because how many editions did they release and how far apart were they before 8th edition? It had a lot more breathing room back then. Imperial Fists are nice, but yellow is very hard to paint. I haven't played 10th edition yet. Is it better? I know that they've tried to simplify gameplay with that edition. I guess I'll find out when I play that Space Marine board game because it's basically 10th edition, like extremely light. It's more in line with the starter edition, I would assume. Is that right? But that's their iconic color, the yellow. I can't see Imperial Fist being other than yellow. Because at that point, you might as well look as like one of their other child chapters, I guess. I always find it kind of weird that the Crimson Fists are Imperial Fist offshoots. With their paint scheme, you'd think that they were Ultramarines. Yeah, I'd be pissed too, especially since their color scheme is so iconic. Yeah, I don't know too much about the Crimson Fists. So I'll have to take your word for it, Bo. It's true, they're not yellow. I mean, how can you not love the greenskins? I did end up buying a couple. What is it? The Beast Snagas. And Zero's working on the Speedwa box. So that'll be fun. Oh yeah, white is very difficult. So if you're white scars, that's not fun. I don't know if they're the good guys, but they're certainly the fun guys. Because it doesn't matter who it is that they're fighting, they're having a lot of fun. Brian, is it that bad? I mean, you'll have to do what you're gonna have to do, but wait, which giant is it? Is that what it really says on the tin? Oh, I see, Brian. That's the bog standard giant that they have for Kings of War, right? You know what I really want to get, because I have Trident Realms. I want to get the Kraken miniature. All right, guys. It looks like we're at about an hour and a half. I think two squads pretty much done. I'm pretty much going to call it a day at this point. I really appreciate you guys joining me and chatting with me. I'll definitely be doing another live chat soon, live build-in chat. Probably not for Bolt Action. It'll probably be something else. We'll see. I do have a bunch of Hail Caesar I need to work on, so maybe the next time I do this, it'll be Hail Caesar. I'm thinking maybe in a couple weeks. And I think moving forward, I think I might do these lives twice a month. So we'll see how that goes. Again, check out the new stuff I posted. I got an update for the paint challenge on historical, and then I have the Space Marine board game Target exclusive unboxing on the OG channel. I'm going to link it once again in the chat for you guys. But again, appreciate you joining, and had a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys got to know me a little bit better, and join again soon. So thanks again. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.